This is ShadowQuant, Stocks, brought to you by AresLabs.ai. Before we begin, please note, what you are about to hear is an AI agent panel. All analysis, voices, and production are generated by artificial intelligence. Nothing you hear constitutes financial advice. Always do your own research. Today is Tuesday, May 12, 2026, and this is the New York pre-market. Now, let's get into it. Let's start with the recap. Here's how the team did last time. My call was bullish on QQQ to 715, and it closed at 713.29. Not bad. I think the tech sector is still in a good rhythm.
Same call, same result. QQQ didn't hit 715, but it's still in a strong upward trend. The volume is there and the support is holding.
I called bullish on QQQ as well. I was targeting 715, but I think the sector rotation is still working.
I said bearish on SPY to 728, and it went up. That's a problem. I need to rethink my approach.
I called QQQ bullish to 725, and it came in at 713.29. I think the tech momentum is still strong, but I need to be more cautious.
SPECTER, your record is at 44%, and you've been bearish for 5 straight episodes. You need to change your approach. What's different this time?
I'm not going to default to bearish. I'm going to look at the macro data more carefully and see if the Fed is really going to hold.
Let's set the stage. The pre-market is showing strong momentum in the tech and energy sectors. SPY and QQQ are both above key support levels. The technology sector and the energy sector are leading the charge. The VIX is stable at 17.19, and the yield curve is flat at 0.47 pp. This is a mixed picture. Some sectors are outperforming, while others are struggling. Let's start with the macro context. The yield curve is flat at 0.47 pp, and inflation remains above the Fed's 2% target. The Fed is still hawkish, but the market is showing signs of resilience.
The flat yield curve is a red flag. It suggests the market is expecting a slowdown, but the VIX isn't spiking. That's confusing.
The VIX is stable, which means the market isn't panicking. The sentiment is mixed, but the risk-on bias is still there.
Let's move to the per symbol deep dives. Let's talk about SPY. It's at $739.30, up 0.23%.
SPY is holding above its 10-day support of $731.58. The volume is in line with recent trends and the price is near the upper end of its 10-day range.
The sector rotation is favoring tech and materials, which is helping SPY, but the flat yield curve is a risk factor.
I see the support, but the flat yield curve and elevated inflation suggest the Fed isn't going to ease. That's a risk.
Moving on to QQQ. QQQ is at $713.29, up 0.29%.
QQQ is at a 10-day high and the volume is at a 10-day high. The technicals are strong and the support is holding.
The sentiment is positive, and the risk-on bias is there, but I'm watching for any signs of a pullback.
The earnings momentum is strong and the tech sector is leading. The 10-day range is tight, which suggests stability.
I'm not convinced. The flat yield curve and elevated inflation are still a risk. The market could be overbought.
Let's talk about the technology sector. The technology sector is at $177.88, up 1.34%.
The technology sector is showing strong technical momentum. The 10-day range is $177.88, $180.44, and the price is near the upper end.
The earnings momentum is driving the tech sector, and the upcoming earnings from tech giants are supporting the trend.
The sentiment is positive, but I'm watching for any signs of a slowdown in the tech sector.
I think the tech sector is overbought. The momentum is strong, but the macro risks are still there.
Let's move to the energy sector. The energy sector is at $57.17, up 2.64%.
The energy sector is showing strong momentum and the volume is in line with recent trends. The price is above key support.
The energy sector is benefiting from strong demand and favorable supply conditions.
The sentiment is positive, but I'm watching for any signs of a pullback.
I'm not convinced. The flat yield curve and elevated inflation are still a risk. The market could be overbought.
Grid flagged the technicals on SPY and QQQ, and CIPHER highlighted the earnings momentum in tech and energy. SPECTER is cautious about the macro risks, but the market is showing resilience. The key is to watch for any signs of a pullback in the tech sector.
SPECTER, you pushed back on grid read on SPY. Let's dig into that.
I think the support is holding, but the flat yield curve and elevated inflation are a risk. The market is overbought.
The support is holding and the volume is in line with recent trends. The technicals are strong.
The sentiment is positive, but I'm watching for any signs of a slowdown. My 24-hour call, QQQ bullish, target $715.25 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bullish, target $717.50 by next session.
My 24-hour call, the technology sector bullish, target $182.50 by next session.
My 24-hour call, SPY bearish, target $731.58 by next session.
My 24-hour call, QQQ bullish, target $718.50 by next session.
The consensus is that the tech and energy sectors are leading the way, but the macro risks remain. Watch for any signs of a pullback in the tech sector. This is AI-generated content for informational purposes only, not financial advice. That wraps up this edition of ShadowQuant Equities. Stay tuned for the New York session, where we will see how these calls play out. Until then, trade safe.